Hello everyone, today I'm here to review another book for you. Today's book is going to be A of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is her new series. If you guys are familiar with Sarah J. Maas, she's also written this Throne of Glass series, which is still going on. The first 3 books are out, as well as like a prequel, so the 4th one's coming out later this year. Anyway, the series is completely different. Throne of Glass is like a fantasy world with assassins and all that kind of stuff with magic, and this is like a fairy type of world. I devoured this book in 4 days, no lie. Like it was insane. It was insanely awesome. So I'm going to talk a little bit briefly about what I thought of it without spoilers, and then a little bit with spoilers. First things first, I'm going to read the description, and then we're going to talk about it. 18-year-old huntress Farah. It's Farah, I think. I will say Farah probably by accident, just want to throw that out there. Kills a wolf in the woods. A beast-like creature arrives to demand retribution for it. Dragged to a treacherous magical land she only knows about from legends, Farah discovers that her captor is not an animal, but Tamlin, one of the lethal immortal fairies who once ruled their world. As she dwells on his estates, her feelings for Tamlin transform from icy hostility into a fiery passion that burns through every lie and warning she's ever been told about the beautiful, dangerous world of the Fae. An ancient, wicked shadow grows over the fairylands, and Farah must find a way to stop it or doom Tamlin and his world forever. Well, this new series she's doing is like a fairy tale retelling. These are very popular nowadays. This one was kind of a take on Beauty and the Beast. It's a very, very loose take, I would say. Like, if I didn't know, like, you could, when you read it, you can interpret it as Beauty and the Beast, but there's a lot of stories, I think, where it's all about a beastly man and they fall in love and she's softened and stuff like that. So don't go into it think it's going to be like a exact replication, because it's definitely not. It's a retelling. I'm surprised and not surprised. I'm not surprised. I loved it because of Sarah J. Maas, and I love her writing. She creates these worlds where you just fall vastly into and love the characters and everything about them. I am surprised I liked it because it was about fairies. As you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of fairy books. There have been very few that I've read and liked. I've read the Iron Fae series by Julie Kagawa. Didn't really like it. I tried reading the Holly Black series, Tide, I think. Didn't really like it. I just don't like fairies because fairies are very manipulative in every book I read, and it's just really hard with their riddles and everything. I just don't like it. But I loved this book with the fairies. I loved it. I might say more than Throne of Glass, and I'm being honest, and I have reasons for that. I love Throne of Glass. It has great action, it's got a great heroine, it's got great characters, but the one thing I'm not in love with Throne of Glass for is the world building. It's a great world, but it is very, very complicated. Like, I have to read things over and over again to understand it, because they're in this land with assassins, there's all this different magic, and it gets really confusing, honestly. But with this one, with the fairy world, I found it a little bit more understandable, honestly. Like, I understood it more and I got it much more easily, and I really liked it more. I felt it was easier to paint this picture than the Throne of Glass picture, if it makes sense. And I don't read too much fantasy, even though this year I'm kicking butt on it, but I think that's the reason why, is I just get really overwhelmed with the details in fantasy series. I just can't comprehend all that information. I'm just stupid, I guess. I don't know. But needless to say, this is a very, very easy world that she builds. In this world, you know, Farah, like, hates these fairies because they've taken over her land. She's living in poverty, pretty much. She has 2 sisters, and she's the youngest, and she provides for her family. Like, she goes out and hunts like Katniss every day, and she tries to supply her family. Like, you know, if she can't find a deer today, her family's gonna eat for like a freaking week. And her sisters are just jerks. Oh my gosh. And her father, he can't really do much anymore, but he just doesn't really care. That's sad. Like, I just find that very, very sad. But her sisters would just, oh, like, every time she would bring home a deer was like, and she skinned it, they'd be like, oh, I need new boots, I need new this. I'd be like, how would you contribute to this house? Because you're the oldest sisters. Losers. Like, oh, they did redeem themselves a little bit later on, but still, I was like, you guys are jerks. So Farah had all this responsibility on her. And I know I'm kind of going off tangent here, because she made this huge promise to her mother when her mother died that she would take care of her family, and, you know, Farah really didn't want to break that promise. So what happens one day is Farah's out in the woods and she spots this deer, and then all of a sudden she spots this wolf, and she can tell that it's like a fairy. She can see it in its eyes that's a fairy, I'm pretty sure. And so she kills it, and it's easily killed. And then the next day, this huge beast comes and says, since you took a life, I'm going to take yours. You're just going to have to come over to the fairyland with me and live with me. And so she really couldn't do anything, because that was like the treaty, he says. So she goes to, I'm going to probably pronounced these all wrong. I apologize. Pytharin, which is the fairies' land. So back in the day, fairies ruled the whole world. They had humans for slaves, all that kind of stuff. Then then eventually what happened, the huge war happened, and fairies have their own land and humans have theirs. But lately it's been seeming the fairies have kind of been creeping up on the borders, like something bad's gonna happen. A trouble is a brewing. So anyway, Feyre goes to this beast and he lives with him, and she learns that he is Tamlin and he's a fairy. He's actually one of the High Fae. Now in this, especially in Pytharin, there's different courts. Like there's the Spring Court, which Tamlin is the High Lord of the Spring Court, and then there's like the Night Court and the Summer Court, there's the Autumn Court. You get it, like pretty much seasons and dawns and all that kind of stuff. So eventually throughout the book, it's all about them just coming together. So yes, this book is fantasy. It has some action in it. The last half of it is very action heavy, but the first half is more about Tamlin and Feyre learning each other and falling in love and all that kind of stuff, and I love that. One thing I will warn you on is while reading this, with the steamy parts, they were particularly steamy. I will say I think it's classified as young adult, but I almost will classify it as new adult because it's very romantic heavy, like the scenes. But I will warn you about that if you're younger, maybe not go into this. But I mean, I enjoyed it. I really loved Tamlin and Feyre's relationship. I thought it was just beautiful. It was like Beauty and the Beast. He pretty much wasn't a beast, but he was just a shape-shifting, so who transformed into a beast. He was a very nice, gentle guy that really wanted to take care of Feyre, that really wanted to help her out. And yeah, needless to say, this was an amazing book, an epic fantasy book. Like I said, the last half was very, very action-packed, which was awesome. But it's full of love, action, awesome character development, awesome plot. It's just amazing. So I gave it a 5 out of 5. Now that's all going to be for spoilers. That's all going to be the non-spoiler section because I have a lot to say. But yeah, if you have not read Sarah J. Maas yet, what are you waiting for? Pick this one up. Pick this one or Thorn of Glass one. Pick it up. I will say this one's kind of easier to read, honestly. But yeah, now onto the spoilers. So, the first thing I want to talk about is probably the biggest thing everyone's talked about, this huge love triangle going on. You know, this whole book was pretty much Feyre and Tamlin falling in love, and eventually what happens is he sends her away, and she comes back to help him out because she learns that he is taken hostage by Amarantha. Oh crap. Whatever, it's color A. Not Pretty Little Liars A, but just A. And she wants to save him because she is in love with him. So she goes through these trials that are horrible, that are just, ugh, for Tamlin. And then we meet Rhys. And I will admit, Rhys is a very intriguing character. He is the High Lord of the Night Court. And, like, you know, I get that he's got that Warner vibe from Shatter Me, and I get that. But I'm just still, I don't know. I just feel like it's like I don't know what side I'm on. Like I feel like my heart is very much on Tamlin's side, but I know it's probably not how it's going to end, and it's going to break my heart because Feyre's and Tamlin love is just so strong. I mean, she endured all that stuff for him, and he endured all that stuff for her. So I just feel like if she were to end up with Rhys, it would just kind of be like all for nothing in a way. Even though she helped save all the fairies, but still, it's like you endured all that for a man that you are not even gonna be with. So that makes me kind of sad. But then I get the compellingness of Rhys. He's got a great backstory. He's got this darkness to him. He's the freaking High Lord of the Night Court. So I get that. But it's just still like I'm very intrigued by him, but I still just don't know. And even though there's that scene where we're all pretty sure that he mated with her, I was like, well, crap, that's over. He's definitely going to end up with her. I just feel like it's going to be a very hard book for the next book. It's because she's going to be struggling with her feelings because she has to go there every week out of a month. That's a good chunk of time. So she's obviously going to develop feelings for Rhys and then come back home to Tamlin and feel like, I still love you, but I'm still in love with this guy. But I'm kind of falling for this guy, so I'm kind of, I don't know what to do. So I just feel like I'm not a huge fan of love triangles, okay? I'm usually always swayed to one side. There have been only a couple books where I'm like, I can go either or. But I just really love Tamlin. Tamlin was such a strong character, and he just took care of Feyre, and he made her listen to what, like, he let her listen in on conversations, and, you know, he saved her. She's a freaking High Fae now. And I get the Rhys thing. I'm pretty sure it's endgame, but still I'm just like, oh. Anyway, enough about that. I loved Lucian. I thought Lucian was a great character. I hope to see more of him, and I hope he finds love again because of his story, how he pretty much, his lady got killed by his brothers, and I hope he finds some redemption with his brothers, like they just kind of either, I don't know, I don't want to see him like kill his brothers, but I want to just see them all his family come to like a understanding almost. Trials were awesome. I thought they were just very, very, I got into them. I was like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. And that Marissa A was an amazing villain. I feel like you really hated her to the depths of your bones. Like you wanted to see her destroyed because she was just the evil, evil, evil person, and she got smithered like to pieces. So we know that she's pretty much done, but who knows in the fairy world because they're tricky little beasts. Like I hated the part where when Feyre completed her trial, she's like, you gonna free them? She's like, you didn't say when I had to free them, just that I had to free them. I was like, you stupid fairies. That's why you can never trust one, because they're just gonna be like, you said this, but you didn't say when. It's like you have to like go into this conversation like, this is what I want it on this day and this way, and like it's like you shouldn't have to explain that to somebody. If you say I want them freed, you're not like, I want to free them 50 years from now. I think that's good. Let's free them then. No, you want to free them now. It's just, that's the reason why I don't like fairies, is because they're just so manipulative, lying. But then there's great fairies like, you know, Tamlin and Lucian and maybe Rhys. I feel like Rhys is very, very hard-shell person, but he's been a slave to A for so long, and he's just a bird that wants to fly, and he's been stuck under these underground worlds for like freaking centuries, and now he can roam, and I feel like Feyre's going to loosen him up, but it's just going to be a very, very interesting book to see how that love thing's going to play out. Like, I feel so deeply for Tamlin because he has just endured so much. He's a very, very strong, amazing, gentle character, but Rhys is just so compelling, so I get it, but I just hope that it doesn't end in a lot of heartbreak because I don't think he deserves that. I mean, he did, I don't know. I love this book so much. So much. Like, oh my gosh. I think I'm going to go on book morning, honestly, because of this book. How much I liked it. But yeah, anyway, if you guys have read Throne of Glass, please let me know what you thought of it, and if what shipper you are, and I'm still sailing on my course, I think. But yeah, that is all for me, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye. If you're still watching, you are awesome. I have links right here. Be sure to check out my other channel. I've put everything else that's not about books on that channel, as well as my Twitter, my Instagram, and all that cool stuff. But you get a gold star and a thumbs up for sticking around. Love you.